Hey everyone, you're listening to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where great friends sit down and recap romance novels while philosophizing and looking deep into ourselves. And giggling, lots of giggling. So, there's some big news coming up next month. Nat and Sara are going to be at Love Sweet Arrow in Chicago on Bookstore Romance Day. So, if you're in the Chicagoland area, or you're up for some travel, mark August 20th on your calendar so that you can see Heaving Bosom's first live show. And just a quick reminder, the Kickstarter for Peculiar Tastes is still going. So if you haven't checked it out yet, we're revealing more art and inclusions every week. And over on Patreon, stay tuned for Nat and Sara and I recapping the Nora Roberts adaptation, Brazen, on Netflix. All I can say is that Alyssa Milano brings it in every way I ever want her to. And Detective Sexy Crinkle Eyes is both swoon-worthy and hilarious. It's a treat. And now we've got an event that's been years in the making. Sarah MacLean and Jen Prokop from FATED Mates are here to chat with Aaron and I about the first book in the Hidden Legacy series, Burn for Me by Ilona Andrews. So, buckle up, because today, it's FATED Bosoms. Here we go. Oh, my God.
Astounded that worked.
Look at us.
Like,
We did a great
fucking
job.
floored that we
absolute
did it off like that and it worked.
Professionals.
When we first started 4 years ago, we used to make people clap.
Oh, God.
Did you guys ever do that? The clapping?
Overdue does that. Or somebody we did a crossover with does a clap.
It's so hard to do
There's
over
a delay.
Zoom. That's the
Yes.
problem. It's Zoom. Like,
And then I started to feel like a real dummy. And then we were in person and we did it. And I was like, oh, this is a computer problem.
Zoom.
This is not I can't clap with someone else's problem.
No.
truly.
I mean, I know I'm a white lady and my clapping skills are actually pretty subpar, but I was like, I could certainly do this one fucking thing.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I like the count a lot better.
Me too.
That we do the count too.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Okay, so
we're FATED Bosoms. We're Heaving Mates.
We're here. We're doing it. Finally.
What are
Years in the making. We're doing this.
Are we introducing ourselves? Heaving Mates? FATED Bosoms?
I think
What's
FATED
our-
Bosoms. It's got to be.
I think it's got to be FATED
sounds
Bosoms.
way better.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay. Heaving Mates sounds like
It sounds
we are going to like a
mean,
wrestling show.
Kind of sounds great.
it sounds kind of nice, but it's definitely a particular flavor.
We'll
Do a poll. We'll do a Twitter poll and have people decide what
Have
this new
people
podcast
decide.
should be called.
Yeah.
So I had texted Jen a few weeks ago and said, I have to recommend a book to somebody who's never read romance before. What would you give them to
Ooh.
read?
Wait,
And-
you picked this.
And Jen picked this. And we kind of went back and forth a little bit. And then when it came time to pick a book for this, this was one of the ones that we had recommended through our 5-star review, Bribe, that if you give us a 5-star review and tell us to read a book, we will. And so it kind of fit that you clearly like this book, and it was one of the ones on our list. So here we are.
Yeah. Burn for Me by Ilona Andrews is the book, everybody. Mad Rogan. We're finally talking about it.
Listen, Mad Rogan is one of those characters that I have pretended to know about for like, a decade, right? Like,
Sure.
people are
Yeah,
like,
Mad
oh,
Rogan.
Mad Rogan. I'm like, totally Mad Rogan.
Me too. Yeah.
And now I finally understand it, and I acknowledge that you were right, Jen, because
Mad
I
Rogan.
love a sociopath.
I
know you do.
And he is like a real
an
actual
actual one of
sociopath.
those.
What a
Yeah.
darling.
Yeah. What a revelation is Mad Rogan. Because I was confused so much.
Can we just, before we do this, can we introduce ourselves for, you know?
Sure.
Oh,
purposes
Good
of
for
everything?
posterity.
Absolutely.
You go first, Sarah. Since you're a Mad Rogan virgin.
Yeah. So is this woman right now.
Still to this very day.
What the heck? What the F? Anyway, not by tomorrow in my world, but I hope. But anyway, I am Sarah MacLean. I am one half of Fated Mates, a romance novel podcast that you can have in your ear holes every Wednesday. I read romance novels and I write them.
I'm Jennifer Prokop, the other Fated Mates half. I have read this book and its sequels probably 20 times each. I'm
that's
not
a
going to lie to
flex,
you.
Jen.
I enjoy them in audio.
Such a bragger.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what? It's like a real comfort read to me, and I'm not quite sure why. And I feel like that would be interesting for us to discuss.
Yeah.
I would love to. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm Melody Carlisle. I'm one half of Heaving Bosoms and one half of Bonkers Romance, 2 podcasts that talk about romance novels 24/7.
That's the way we want it. Yeah.
I'm Erin. I used to be one half of Heaving Bosoms, and now I'm just a lady in the world.
Now you're just a reader.
Yeah.
A reader, Erin.
You get to just do whatever you want.
I listened to this book on 2 times speed, and they're cool with me being here, so that's great.
Heck yeah. Okay, but Jen, comfort read.
Yes,
I feel
sorry.
like one
Okay.
of the reasons, like the thing that pinged in my brain was just that the universe is so specific. It could be a comfort read for me because I can just switch off the real world and just dive into this. And it's so complete and it's so vibrant.
Yeah. So, you know what? Let's talk about the plot. Not too extensively. This is very plotty, right? It's like if
So
you
much
like the
actions.
adventure romance, it's
It's an adventure
much action.
romance,
Yeah.
right?
It's an adventure romance. It's urban fantasy. So one of the things you should all know, and the reason Sarah's a little salty,
I
is
might have
because-
texted, when are these two going to bang it out?
And the
I was
answer
like,
is never. Doesn't happen. Does not.
Yeah, it does not
Hey.
happen.
I
in
was
this book.
finishing
Yeah.
this while I was mowing my lawn this morning, and I can neither confirm nor deny that I made like sweaty selfie videos to be like, they haven't banged, and I sent them to a bunch of people. So
I feel robbed. I feel like something was stolen from me.
You're right.
I feel like
You're right.
I
Okay,
have
but-
to read the second book now.
You have to read the
do
second
have to
book
read
now.
I mean, this is it, the ultimate cliffhanger, which is why I'm a little bit surprised that Jen is
Hard same.
Like,
Yeah,
this.
so for sure, because here's the thing that's really interesting. Okay, so the main characters are Nevada Baylor and Mad Rogan, as previously discussed, our favorite sociopath. It takes place in Houston, Texas, in a world where magic runs through families. So Nevada is her kind of magic is she's a truth seeker. Mad Rogan is a telekinetic, but like his mother is a telekinetic. They're a telekinetic house, right? So there's all these different kinds of magic.
and it can be bred like dogs.
Yeah, and they do.
Yeah, right. That's a big part of it, right? So like your magic is a good match for someone else's magic, and you know, so it's very like feudal in that way,
Yeah,
almost,
absolutely.
right? So I think the other thing I really like about it is I think it pushes a lot of the same buttons as like a historical romance.
Totally.
For me.
Which really did not surprise me at all. This is one of the few things that didn't surprise me about this book because Ilona often writes. She has a very rich. Ilona and Gordon. They are a married couple
Right.
who write these novels together under her name, and they have this like really, really vibrant blog and website where their fans come and interact with them. And her blog is very active, and she talks about historicals a lot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, and you can see it, the bones.
Yeah, you can see like the footprints of that.
Yeah.
So it's like a modern book, but it has like that historical feel in a lot of ways. Like it's, you know, the world is really driven by manners almost, right? Like there's a certain kind of way that you're supposed to act. And if you don't act that way, right, like then you're like this just like wild card unless you're super powerful, right? So Mad Rogan is like people kind of steer clear of him because he's really rich and he's the most powerful
He's a king.
mage in North America.
He's a king.
I mean, there's a
of
very
course.
clear aristocracy, and there's a very clear like I felt the difference between like a match for families and a love match, like those
Right.
sorts of things ran through it. too.
Right, and what's her name? the heroine's family is like very clearly the Bennetts.
Nevada.
You know, like they're, yes, Nevada. Thank you.
It means snow.
Yeah. Oh,
Melted spring snow.
I'll melt your snow.
I didn't know that, and I was like, "Ooh."
I actually didn't
taking
either.
Notes.
And I was like,
Adam
is
was like,
desert
it's a
though?
winter name. I
should
was like,
know.
Nevada's a very summer state.
Very, very warm state.
Tell that to the Donner Party, everybody.
I mean, fair.
That happened in Nevada. Look, I don't even know.
It was like Nevada or Utah.
Around Tahoe.
Yeah.
It's actually
'cause there's
on the
like a
Nevada
mountain chain
California
that
border.
runs right
There's a
through
big
there.
old mountain that
It's called
goes there.
Sierra Nevada.
The Sierra Nevadas.
Oh, I
It's
wasn't even
the
thinking about that one.
Oh my fucking
Geography.
Sorry,
Guys,
I
it's
didn't
the
mean to
Sierra
call
Nevada.
it a summer state. I'm backing down. I'm so sorry. Never mind.
It's a summer state, but
Fine.
up near Lake Tahoe, which is
It's
one
cold.
side is Nevada and one side is California.
yeah.
That's where the Donner Party got trapped in 35 feet of fucking snow and they ate each other. I am just
They
saying.
did have to eat each other. Yeah.
It's cannibalism.
This is the first time so far today that Fated Mates has corrected me on something. It will not be the last. And I'm backing down.
Please note, only one half of us knew any of that.
Yeah, well,
I
Mr.
did know
Reed's
about
romance.
I did know about cannibalism in the Donner Party though, because of course I did.
Yeah, of
because sociopaths. I'm like, call me Donner.
Are you going to write a Donner Party romance? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh
Are
my
you
God.
announcing on this
Will
show
Bonker-
today?
Bonkers Romance is gonna have me on?
Please. You let a bitch know.
That would be a bonkers romance.
it would. Quite.
It would. It would definitely go there.
I mean, I think this podcast is now over while I run an aura, but okay.
So
All right,
Nevada she's a truth seeker, and her family has not like bred magic into them. They're very like love matchy, and so her mom is like she can shoot stuff real good, and her grandma can like she can talk to any machine you
Her
put in
grandma's
front of
the
her.
best, by the way.
Oh,
Her
God.
grandma is the best.
Her grandma
yeah.
is Grandma
Put her on
Major.
the list. Yeah,
Yes.
there's like a list of grandmas in romance, and she's got to be like right
Absolutely.
up
100%.
Yeah.
Right?
And so she has a private investigation agency, and they've been having a hard time financially for a while for reasons.
there. She also, but Nevada also has like this kind of secret magic. Like
Yes.
nobody knows, but she has the best magic that anybody has in all. Like this is the only kind of magic I actually really care about, which is she can tell when you're
When
lying.
someone-
God,
Wouldn't
wouldn't
it
it
be
be
great?
so nice?
It's the best.
I actually, you know what's really interesting is so this like Wonder Woman and her lasso of truth, Sookie Stackhouse, right?
Right? Right.
One of the things that's really interesting to me is I'm fascinated by how this talent is almost always manifested in women. Because it's like,
We're so used to being lied to.
yes, like us bitches, we just want to fucking know if you're telling us the truth.
We don't
right?
trust your
Honestly.
ass at all.
Yeah.
So just cut to the chase.
Right. Right. Whereas his power, right, being like super powerful is like patriarchy embodied,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Like
a
I
king.
can literally destroy a fucking city when I put my mind to it.
That's pretty hot. That video at the beginning when they watched
Hot.
like
Yeah.
young Mad Rogan just
Just
level a
destroying.
building. Yeah.
Oh my God.
The description of the look in his eyes, that's like, this is what I am. Like the self-awareness and kind of like
Yes.
self-loathing of the idea that he like destroyed Mexico? ? Like I'm not really
Yeah.
like certain of what
That's
was
about
happening in that video. Like there's something involving like Belize, and it's like a whole global conflict that I didn't super understand, but it was destructive what he was
Yes.
doing.
Yeah.
And Nevada and I were both like hot.
Hot.
I mean, because
I was
here's the
too,
thing. Not only was this video him just like basically cutting buildings in half sideways so that they just like crumble around, but he's doing it standing in the midst of them. So you know that he can not only completely destroy everything around him, but he has this like this cone of magic around him that makes it bounce off, and he's perfectly fine. And like that kind of like destructive but control is very
What
compelling.
else can you do inside that little cone of?
I mean,
The gun is on the. It's like Chekhov's gun on the table right there, and it better be great in book 2. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, it was great in
book
this
2 is my
book.
favorite.
Oh my god.
And there was no.
We'll get
You're
to it.
getting ahead of
We're getting
yourself,
ahead of it.
everybody.
I want to talk about that whole moment with the touching and the
I
not
can't
touching.
wait. I cannot wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the plot starts essentially with Mad Rogan's nephew gets into some trouble, right? Essentially with like a very powerful but like super shitty magic user named Adam.
Mad Rogan's nephew does an arson with the help of a competing prime magic doer.
Prime is
one of
the
those
top.
big sauce
Great
guys.
A.
Of course.
Is Prime.
Yeah.
Prime magic.
So he did do an arson that did murder one person and like hurt the rest of his family. So understandably, the police are like, we're going to get ya. Like, we got to get him. And his cousin comes over and she's like crying and she's like, please just save my son.
Right?
Yeah, it's his mom.
Yeah.
The
woman
Mad
is
Rogan's
Mad
cousin.
Rogan's cousin,
Oh, no, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
But the
mom
mom
of the
comes
kid.
over to like
right.
plead with Mad Rogan, whose name is Connor, which I didn't like. love.
But is it though? Because they never call him that.
but
I
what's
think
his face
clear
plays
alone, I didn't
later.
like it either.
Yeah.
Has
Stick with
anyone else
Rogan.
read the rest of the series? Am I the only one who's read all
Oh,
of
does
them?
it come
You
back,
are.
Jen? Is it important?
No, just Nevada starts to call him Connor when he's
hate
not
it.
acting like a
Sure.
sociopath.
Well, that's a classic romance
Okay.
novel moment.
Yeah, like
I know.
course.
I was worried about that.
I don't love the
I
name
guess it would-
Connor, but I do love it when a Duke lets you call him by his first name.
His first
See?
name.
So there it is.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a
Yeah.
balance. You're going to figure out what you like, but which is more important. That's what romance is good for. It's good for you for that hierarchy of needs.
A hierarchy of stuff you can disregard for hot sociopaths. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, basically everything is my answer.
So Mad Rogan wants to find his nephew.
We're still in chapter 1, but
We
Right.
are.
I'm trying to move us along.
You're doing great.
Simultaneously,
teachering.
right? Nevada's their investigative agency is essentially like a subsidiary of a really big investigative agency called MII. And her boss comes along and is like, I need you to find Adam Pierce. And
Who is unfindable, uncatchable, he can,
And
burn,
can burn-
steel down.
yeah.
right,
Scary.
right.
Not
Big-
safe.
yeah.
This is not
Big
safe.
fireball man is what he wants her to just like put her arms around.
And she can tell that her boss is like, you'll be fine. And she can tell her boss is like, you will not be fine. This is
You will not be fine, but that's not my problem, right?
right.
Like, I need to look like I'm taking care of this, so I'm going to outsource it to you.
And she can't turn it down or else her family loses everything. Very classic setup.
Yeah, high stakes, right?
great
well,
stuff.
and that's the thing. Like, if you like high stakes, like these books are so great for that. So I'm going to skip forward to essentially how they come into contact.
Yes,
So
please.
Nevada is Aaron.
I
has
just
her hand
want
up.
to I just feel like I have
Yeah.
to say something here, and I'm sorry, Jen. This is going to be a
tell
little
me.
confrontational.
Tell me everything.
But I do remember like tweets and like opinions from like Jen Reads Romance that said
Who's
things
that?
to the effect of like,
that?
oh, that's Jen. She's here on the podcast with us. That said things to
Hi,
the effect
everybody.
of like, if a hero and a heroine or the two main characters have not met in the 30% mark of a book, like, fuck that book and I'm going to set it on fire. And I did look down at 30% into this book.
interesting.
And these bitches had not met yet. And I thought,
So,
Jen led
yeah.
me here. Like, how?
I know I did.
Okay,
Also-
but at, like, here's the thing: at 16%,
Do I get to defend myself? No,
not
I just
yet.
have to
So
take
no,
it.
no,
Okay.
I'm just gonna.
Fine.
I think at like 16%, she meets Adam, though.
Yes.
And so that's a big red herring. And I spent a lot of time being like, are we doing Arson Man? Is that who we're
Interesting.
jumping into bed with? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, Jen.
Interesting.
Please.
I mean,
Right. So here's what I'll say is this book, to me, it breaks a lot of rules, right, that I normally am not a fan of. But I think part of the reason I'm okay with it is because, to me, their books are more like urban fantasy than a standalone romance.
see, I see.
And I think one way to think about it for me is like this series, that's 3 books, is like a TV show miniseries that is 3 episodes
So
long.
will
taken
say-
together, it's like 5%
Right?
in.
Exactly.
I see.
See? There you go.
Good argument.
I will say, like, there is a cinematic quality. We talk a lot about
Yeah.
romance novels and, you know, what's cinematic and what would make a good TV show and how hard it is to film a thought this would make a great, I mean, you could take this whole thing,
hell
just
yeah.
transfer it to film, and I would watch the shit out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think I am more forgiving of it because I really wasn't expecting it, I guess. I knew going in, and then like when your expectations are like, you know, I knew going in that they don't, like they kiss in this book, but they don't really get together, and that it wouldn't happen till book 2. So I let me tell you, when I read these books, I was buying them on like Kindle sales, right? Like so I had them in my Kindle, but I hadn't read them. And in a weekend, I was like, all right, I'm going to fucking read this book. Everyone says it's great, right? So I read the first one. I immediately read the second one. And then when I got to the third one, I was like, okay, this is so good. I'm going to go back and read 1 and 2 again before letting myself read 3. And that's what I did all weekend one summer. I just read.
Well, I just had to bring it up because of what happened to me when we read the Sookie Stackhouse books, which are my problematic faves from back in the day.
Yeah,
and just
I love those.
Embodied everything I hate in every other book. I had to bring it up.
Yeah, I think one of the things about Sookie Stackhouse, though, is like one of the things I like is that like these are clearly planned trilogies. Right? Where Sookie Stackhouse instead got more of the like, oh, it got really popular. Now we want your one book to be 3 books. Yeah. Oh, no, now make it 6. And then there's all 17. This retconning and they're changing shit. And you're like, yeah. So, you know, oh, that wasn't really what happened. And I feel like these feel more controlled. Maybe that's why I'm more forgiving of them.
Well, it's also a very clear romantic arc. You know, there's no doubt that it's these two.
Right.
Yes.
Once you get to him, there's no doubt that it's
all right.
these two.
So, Erin, why don't you walk us through how we get to him?
Yeah.
So,
oh God, Erin, please.
Why? I feel like this happens every time we have guests, and then I'm like asked to explain a thing, and then like it's embarrassing. So there's like there is that agency, and she's like doing the investigation, and then like she encounters Adam Pierce like at least once, right?
That's the pyro man. Yeah, they're in the botanical
gardens,
Who
and I think
like
this
the
is
instant hots for her.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah. But at the same time, like, he's got to be really stinky. Like, he only wears leather in Houston and, like, always outside and always on a motorcycle, which is, like, a very hot situation, you know? Like,
and he's very hot. Like, he's a fireman.
He's a fireman. But maybe that makes him able to, you know, sustain high
Maybe he
temperatures.
just burns the stench right off.
He doesn't sweat because he's so hot.
No, I just, the whole time I was just like, this man seems hot, but he also seems very stinky
Smelly
to
hot.
me.
Listen, I lived in Houston, and a lot of the like landscape of the books is like really true. Like I can picture it in my head, but the entire time I was like, if this was really Houston, there'd be flying fucking cockroaches.
Oh yeah,
I'm familiar with those.
Did you love
these?
There's an
magic power is like, I'm gonna
mage.
fucking kill these things, right?
Did you love the exotic locations in this book, like the Galleria Mall?
You know what? I really was like, oh, I know exactly where that is. In book 3, there's a whole thing that goes down that is like literally right by where my in-laws live. And they destroy a movie theater that's like the one we go to when we go to visit them.
Nice.
Spoilers.
Bye, Cinemark.
Oh, hey, HBs. I don't know if you've heard, but we have a Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you get over 150 bonus episodes, most of which include Erin, videos of regular episodes, author hangouts, and so much more. Do you want to hear Erin and I recap every single episode of Crash Landing on You? What about a little film called Psycho Stripper? Do you want more recaps of ridiculous Thanksgiving and other holiday books and movies? And how do you feel about Naima Simone and I recapping amazing reality TV? All of that and more is on the Patreon. There's so much content at your fingertips as soon as you sign up. Seriously, hours and hours. Anyway, it's patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms Podcast if you want to check it out. And of course, that link is in the show notes. Keep being a badass.
Okay, so she encounters him at the botanical gardens. He does like do a Bernie thing, and they like do a flirt thing. Then he's gone. Then she's like hanging out in like a courtyard downtown, and she just like sees a hot man. And then he's coming at her, and she's just like, wow, he's so hot. And he's like walking at me.
Not
and
fire hot, just hot.
Just like regular type.
I feel like we have to
animal magnetism.
Imagine for yourselves a romance hero. He's a dark-haired, the romance hero with the turquoise eyes of the romance hero and the square jaw and the cheekbones. And he's coming at her, and then he's got like a piece of like ribbons, and then he does throw those ribbons at her. Wait, no. First she runs, and then she points a gun at him. But then he just throw those ribbons at her, and then they like
Texas cowboy like wanders up and is like, "Hey, don't scare that woman." And he's like, "I wouldn't come over here if I were you." And
I'm Mad Rogan.
I'm Mad Rogan.
But like, just she's like Texas cowboy. Like, who's he dating? What's his deal? Because like,
yeah, right.
Well, you don't want him. He just left her.
Yeah, his politics are probably problematic too. But like, just to get involved, I feel like he had some balls.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I love the fact that she's like, I'm being kidnapped in broad daylight. There are 30 people watching this minimum.
Like, oh no.
And like nobody's gonna step in because this guy.
It's Mad Rogan.
Nonsense.
Because he's the king.
Oh my gosh.
And they're all like, well, you don't fuck with the king. It's fine.
Well, and he's the scourge and stuff. Like he's known for being mass murderer. That's his whole deal.
That's literally how he's described in chapter 1. He's a mass
murderer.
And it's
Sarah was like, why didn't you tell me this before? I totally would have done this.
Wait a second. Nobody has described him this way.
And I was like, hold on. All right, so here's the part I love. He takes her, okay, I know this is terrible. I love this part. He takes her down to his basement where we get a like better like idea of how magic works, because if you have chalk and you can draw circles, you can amplify your magic. And he has drawn some sort of chalk circles on the basement floor.
I would be so bad at magic.
Yeah, me too. That are used
to be good circles, forget it.
Yeah, right.
I can't draw a circle. What kind of nonsense? You want me to make the lines match up at the end? I don't. On the ground.
Say you were poorly bred. I don't know what to say.
We need to get you a big old compass.
Can you use a stencil, or do you like have to freehand it? Is it part of the magic that you have to freehand it, or can you put like a mug down?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
There's like a giant compass.
Mad Rogan flummoxed by circles.
Yeah, no. Nevada is flummoxed by circles. Okay, so he gets her down to the basement. He's going to squeeze the truth out of her, right? He's interrogating her using the circle.
With his mind,
his
mind hands.
I want to.
He's doing a Geneva Convention breakage. He's just like, fuck the Geneva Convention. This is my basement.
There's no Geneva Convention in these books. Yeah, right.
But there is, though. That's the thing. The military stuff in this book is very real.
Well, Gordon is retired military. So, yeah, I expect that it was appropriately real.
All the military stuff checks out until they're like, and then we invaded Belize, and it's like, but Belize, like, but why though?
Where we invaded?
You do find out more about Belize later.
There was a magic well of ore that is magical.
But
in there,
I think the Geneva Convention does exist in the books. However, Mad Rogan is no longer bound by them because he is no longer a U.S. Army soldier.
Because, he doesn't follow rules.
Totally.
He does whatever he wants.
Also, because he's a sociopath. Like, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm going to break your brain.
But, like, in a hot way.
Yeah.
In a hot way. And here's the part that's great. We've already seen, like, Nevada is real competence porn. I think that's the other thing I really like about this book, right? Like, she is just great at her fucking job. And she manages to, like, essentially, she doesn't really even really understand how her own power works, but she uses her own power, essentially, to stave off this attack.
Well,
right? And it's great.
And then she does a big loophole on him.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he wants to know who hired you.
Where is this? He wants to know where this kid is. Who I guess is not a kid, but in my head is a child. Aaron Pierce.
Old enough to be tried as an adult, I say.
Yeah, he super is. Especially in Texas.
Did an arson.
Did an arson.
Hopes killed some people.
No, I'm not like sympathetic to him.
Just
I'm
putting it out that I just hoped like at the end of the book it wasn't like, and then he was charged with the felony murder that he did commit. It didn't end that way.
There's
He was.
No. So
He was?
here's Adam was.
But wait.
Well,
No, the kid.
okay, there's two levels of government, right? Like there's like the regular, like civilian government, and then there's like the houses
magic
are all
government. Don't they
then
all
there's the
try
magic
their
government.
own people?
Right. So there's a point at which if it's all like a magic crimes or magic houses at war with each other,
Sure. So
or
this is how justice
Yeah.
works. This works great.
Sure.
I bet.
Well, that's how the military does it.
Yeah, I know. And
true.
it works great there. So
Yes, it does.
I've seen a few good men. It totally works.
So-
Okay. Anyway.
wait, no, but Melody was explaining
Sorry.
they need
No.
So they're looking for this guy.
Yeah, so he wants to know where Adam is so that he can find his nephew. And he's trying to be like, who hired you? Why are you around? Why have you been able to find Adam and talk to him? Because I did hear his motorcycle go away. And because nobody else has been able to find Adam Pierce. And so she's like, I can't tell you anything about my client. I can't tell you anything about my investigation. I can't tell you anything, period. The end. It's unethical and wrong. So it's not going to happen. And so he does a mind vice on her that is rough. And she's like, oh my God, so they're like sitting on
It's
the
great.
ground and
it's
she's
great.
getting like, she's having to exert so much energy that they're both like getting overheated. And there's a point at which she's just like sitting in her bra and underwear because she cannot have clothing on and be able to like really contend with this onslaught. So at one point, he does a banter with her that's like, I mean, you know, I'm not going to stop, so feel free to take off the bra. And I was just like, oh no, I'm not okay. And then she outsmarts him, she outfoxes him by telling him her biggest personal secret instead of the secret he wants, and it breaks the spell. What a fucking genius.
And it also breaks
so
him
great.
because he goes to
Yes,
get her
breaks him.
water. Because he's like, I can see that I've like, that I don't, he starts to feel feelings, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah,
And then
right.
he's like, I don't
who is
like
this
this.
woman?
I have to get this woman water. He like
And then he
caretakes her.
takes her back to her family home, and
And then he's like, forget it.
And dumps her on the porch.
We're
He
done now.
does drop her on the front step. So he doesn't tuck her in or anything,
No.
Jen.
Okay, wait. Is this the one where he gets the
basically
carnations
calls her a
though?
beautiful
No.
little fool.
It is the book
Okay,
where he
there-
gets the carnations, but it is not the
Oh,
triangle.
yeah, the book. Sorry.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry, I thought
Yeah,
you meant the
no,
scene.
no.
Yeah.
No, right. So this is, you know what? And she's like, holy shit, I just almost got killed by Mad Rogan. What a psychopath. And he's like, I think I like her.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He's like, touche, madam. Like, not many people are able to outdo me.
Let me give you
That's
water
incredible.
and take you
Right.
home.
So then he starts calling her, right? And meanwhile, one of my favorite scenes is he calls her, right? And she and her grandmother are looking at the phone trying to figure out something else. And she's like, I'll call you back. And he hangs up on him. She hangs up on him. And he's like, did you just hang up on me? And she's like, yeah, I'm talking to my grandma about this other thing.
And I don't work for you. I'm not working for you.
Right? It's so great. Because no one ever says no to him, right? No one has ever stands up to him.
Yeah.
No one ever is not terrified by him. But Nevada doesn't give a fuck.
You know what the other thing I love about Nevada is that she's just like, I have an obvious psychopath and I'm also going after an obvious psychopath. And like both of these worlds are merging. You know what I need to do? I need to shove an electric slug into my bone of my arm.
Oh, that's
What
right.
was that?
Was like a eel that did go into her arm part.
I can explain this part. Okay.
Oh, please tell me everything.
Remember we talked about how there's different kind of magic?
Yeah.
So she is a mental mage. But that is not, but then there are combat mages, right?
Yeah.
So he's a combat mage because he can fucking kill you.
Oh,
So
boy, can
if
he.
you are a mental mage and you don't have any combat powers, then your only thing you can do is essentially like level up in some way, right? So then she gets these shockers implanted. And essentially what's going to happen is then if someone comes at her, she can use her magic to activate these things. So her mental mage power can become a combat power
Gotcha.
with the assistance of these things, but it's really dangerous, right? Like she's not supposed to use them on primes. And this is like the first hint, like spoiler alert, that like she is actually a prime.
She's super a prime.
I mean, obviously she's
gotta
prime.
be.
Of course, right? But she doesn't know this because her parents
spoiler alert.
essentially have raised her. She has magic, but she's not from a magical family.
And
they
she's
are
not
house.
supposed to show it.
And she's not supposed to show it. It's going to be very dangerous if people knew what
Does
she could
Grandma
do.
Frida know that she's a prime?
I think maybe Grandma knows.
Grandmas know everything.
Yeah. Well, and Grandma has Grandma's power to fix tanks is magically fueled, right? And her mom is a sniper.
Yeah.
And it's like magically
And it's like a
fueled,
magical-
right?
I think Grandma has like magical healing powers because boy did she bounce back real fucking quick from the house fire / like head trauma, like TBI situation.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, she got hit with a wrench, everybody.
Yeah, if I got hit in the head with a wrench and then left for dead in
you
a
were, like,
burning
80.
building, like I feel like I wouldn't be
you
like
wouldn't-
making biscuits that afternoon.
No.
But like Grandma
It's
was.
like when Captain Marvel just like decks that old lady on the train and then they just fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Mad Rogan is like, okay, let's go for lunch. I promise not to try and kidnap you or whatever.
But I
And
might
Nevada's
try to
like,
do it.
"Bullshit."
You, I think he says, I'm not going to hurt
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hot.
But he tries to trick her. Her mom is a sniper outside the window. They have the sexual tension is high at this lunch.
I wish he would have sat in that chair that did whatever he was gonna. I like it when he does magic on her, and I wanted her to sit in the chair, and I wanted him to trap her in the chair. That's what I wanted. I wanted the whole book to take place in that basement. That's what I wanted. When she got out of the basement, I was
Mad
like,
Rogan.
"Ooh, he doesn't have you tied up anymore." And then when she didn't sit in the chair, I was like, "Not gonna get trapped in chair." Like I was deeply disappointed by this. I mean, good for Nevada or whatever, but rough stuff for old Aaron.
But then can we talk about the scene where he does do magic on her? Like
Oh, yeah. At the Galleria.
on her?
Well, because they
Galleria
decide that they're
Mall.
going to be a partnership to find this
the mall.
brosif. That's what's going on. And during one of their capers to figure out where this guy is and what's going on, they do end up at that Galleria Mall with a lady who wants to bone down with Mad Rogan right now in public.
He does do a crazy strangle on her by braiding her
boy.
dress and like.
Oh, and that's your least favorite
I
thing.
hate a
yeah.
strangle,
I
but
know.
it's different when it's different. It's different than when
It's
Derek
not on
Craven
the
does
heroin.
a strangle with his hands. This is a magic strangle that like a King Magic Man did, so I feel like it's better.
All right, good to know.
But it was difficult
His
for
name
me to
is
get.
Connor, though.
King Connor.
It was difficult for me to get out of my head that they were at the mall. So like when all of this was happening, like when these two ladies were just like fully having orgasms in like the food court of the mall, like I couldn't stop imagining like the teens
they
at the
were
next
outside
table being like,
Nordstrom.
dude, bro, is
that make it a little
lady
better?
having like a fucking orgasm? Like I feel like that was happening.
Listen, if you had to pick a store at the mall where you were going to have an orgasm,
God.
clearly it would be Nordstrom.
Topic.
Would it be
Oh,
Nordstrom?
okay,
Wait a
that's fine
second.
too.
Would
That's
it
fine
be
too.
Nordstrom? Point of order.
Yes.
What
Oh,
mall
please, tell me
store would
everything.
you like to be orgasmed in? I don't think it's
Nordstrom.
I don't think it's a Nordstrom.
It's Hot
would
Topic. I'm
yours
sorry,
be?
that's the answer. To
I was
your
going to say Hot Topic or Spencer's. Like,
Spencer's, right?
Spencer. Do those exist still?
You could find a vibrator in there to give you an orgasm at Spencer's.
I feel like the clerk would be pretty okay with it.
Like back in the lava lamp corner.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What is more erotic, Sarah?
Listen,
Than a lava lamp, I know. When I was growing up, there was a boy in my high school who had a waterbed and a lava lamp. And I
Oh my
know
God.
because I was in that room.
That's
So,
too much. It's
unfortunately,
too
not
much
with him.
flowing. I would get motion sick. It's too
contact
much.
him and ask him where he'd want to have an orgasm
Also,
at the
like,
mall.
what teenager has a waterbed? We should come back to that at some point.
We
in a future
should.
episode.
Like
It
I
was like
gonna
the
say on an
90s, though.
episode
That was the
or like
thing.
with your therapist, or how do you want to come back to that?
Wait, this is making me realize, Jen. Has anybody read a romance novel with a waterbed?
No.
I have not.
I know I have not.
I don't think I have.
That's
what
a-
happened.
wow.
Why do waterbeds never get to romance?
Listener, could you tweet
'Cause
at
they're
us if you have
terrible.
read a
Yeah.
romance with a waterbed? I want to know.
You know, if you
Kelly
own
had a waterbed when we were teenagers.
Really?
I had a waterbed growing
she
up.
loved it.
You did? What? This is fascinating to me. Why?
Weirdly,
did you
it was
have
in our
one?
spare room, which I felt like was a difficult ask for guests to be like, "Welcome to our home, waterbed."
Or maybe it was like classy. Like,
I don't know.
We've saved the best bed for the guests.
Yeah, I mean, we probably got rid of it like late 90s, I would think.
How do
like,
you get a waterbed in and out? I have so many waterbed questions. and I
the
literally
logistics
have
are
not thought
terrible.
about this for years.
We moved into the home
Sure.
when I was like 3 years old, so I have no memory of the waterbed entering the home. I do have a memory of it exiting the home, which was
It had
a
to be
problem if I
drained,
recall.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah, you have to
drain
like
it.
put a hose out the window or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drain that sucker. And
Anyway.
they're so heavy.
If you've read a romance novel
with
with
a
a
waterbed.
waterbed, we're
us
going to
know.
read it as a deep dive on our next Fated Bosom.
Yes. Okay, so wait. This lady
Okay,
That's
sorry.
a pause for Nordstrom.
who's like, here I am at Nordstrom Rack. I would like you to tell me
Rack?
whether or not
like
Nordstrom.
Is it Nordstrom or Nordstrom
Nordstrom
Rack?
Rack.
Because I feel like the vibe is
Nordstrom.
different.
I really don't want to have an orgasm at Nordstrom.
I think I don't know. They're different. One is an outlet. Oh, listen, I don't know. So she's at a Nordstrom, the real kind, and she's like, I want you to show me whether or not you're a tactile. And Nevada is sitting there being like, the fuck is a tactile?
fuck's a tactile?
And Sarah's
Right.
like, what? A tactile?
J'explain to me,
Yes.
please.
Here it
and he
goes.
does. She watches him just like put his eyeballs on her, and she starts getting all hot and bothered. And she's like, more, mad. Oh, I can't. Whoa, this weird thing that just happened.
Pretty much, yes, that is
Like,
accurate. You're doing it great.
in the text.
It really was. Oh, amazing.
And then Nevada, like any self-respecting woman, is like,
Sure.
now wait just a second. What's
Yeah.
this
Just happened there.
like?
Yeah, just try it out.
And I love that she first tells him no, because he's like, the easiest way to tell you what it is to just like, I don't know, show you. And she's like, no, I am a self-respecting private investigator. I mean, yes, I would like that. Thank you.
But also,
perfect,
we're
honestly.
at a mall. Like, could we?
I know, they find a quote unquote
And who cares?
alcove. And I was like, an alcove of
like
what?
no
Yeah.
voyeuristic
Mall
tendencies
are
whatsoever.
The stairs are not a store where I want to have an orgasm.
Is there a
in at the mall.
water fountain next to them? Because that's high
There's a
traffic in the
Listen,
90s.
malls are modern day ballrooms. An alcove,
Fair,
like
I
behind a
guess.
potted fern, is what's happening here.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
You've all-
I'm also nervous
you
in
all
those
bought
scenes.
that. Oh, you are.
So I'm nervous.
I don't love it, but
Oh.
I feel like Sarah MacLean said it. So I mean, if you're telling me that malls are the modern day ballroom, like I feel like I can't really
It's unfortunate,
argue with
but-
that wisdom.
pretty basic, right? I mean,
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's correct. All right.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
So then he does a mental nipple tweak on her.
listen, he doesn't just do a mental nipple. It's a lot more than that. There's a lot of
No.
Yeah,
touching, and then he's like, "Hang on
and
a
it's
second."
literally hot a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
'cause
it's
he's
warm all over her skin.
Velvety.
So he's just revealed to her, right? Like this is the scene where he has just revealed to her that he is an empath as well as like
Right,
so
that's
he
what's
can
makes-
make
right.
you feel as well
Yes.
as like make you
Right.
move.
But then
But
he feels the thing
Nevada
that you're
finds
feeling.
out-
She gets hot and then he's like, I'm also
I feel that too.
hot.
When you react to my noodle touches on you, you know, the mental
Noodle
kind.
touches.
He's been noodling on her and she's been
Not-
feeling it.
Yeah, noodle in the brain.
So he feels it back, and he feels like how excited
like how
she
Aaron's
is. Yeah, Aaron.
So,
tell me
like,
everything.
remember when the girl who was strangled for being slutty was strangled?
Yes.
When he
Harper Larvo.
That's the one.
Yeah, there's a little woman-on-woman crime in this book, and that was one of the victims.
Well, she was also a perpetrator.
Sure, yeah, but like the receptionist at what Evil Corp.
Oh my
it did
God.
nothing to anyone. But anyway, so when she was getting strangled, but also simultaneously having like a violent orgasm in the middle of a mall, was Mad Rogan also then splooging in his pants? No. Okay.
Yes.
No. Because I feel like if he said like when he makes you feel a thing, the thing comes back on him. And so he feels
but he's
like
also
Nevada.
a sociopath, right? So
Well, and he also did it. He didn't do her to completion. He did that strangle before she could get like overly excited.
Arguably,
about
she was
it.
far more turned on than Nevada was because he did more to her than he did to Nevada, right?
Mayhaps, yeah. And like, I'm fine. You know, a physiological reaction is something that you can't control. But one thing that he does control is the tension and hotness feedback, because he's like, oh my God, Nevada, I can feel how you want me. This is real. Like, you've been lying to me.
Yeah.
He's feeling feelings.
Yeah.
I think he would only have that kind
can
of
I say something else? In that line where he says, like, when you get hot, I get hot, and you're on fire, right? That right before he says that, the tag on it is he grinned. Like Mad Rogan, like grinning with like excitement, entertainment, delight. Like, yes, I want it.
Yeah.
I
When
like
are they
that a
gonna
lot.
bang? Not in this book.
Not now.
Are they? That really is the
For
question,
sure not
Sarah.
now.
And it's a question
Book
I
2,
can't
everybody.
answer.
Sorry. I can answer book 2.
Okay.
Is it right away? It's like page 1.
No, it is not.
Motherfucker.
All right, listen. They figure out that Adam and his accomplices are trying to... Okay, so chalk is an amplification circle, but there are also objects that can amplify your power.
Right.
And so what Adam and his accomplices are after is essentially like a set of artifacts that are going to amplify Adam's fire-making power and make him essentially like a god of fire. And as a Chicagoan, I really like there's this whole part where...
Yes.
I loved this.
Right?
I loved this.
Yes. Right? So in Chicago, everybody, there's a great Chicago fire. And there's a whole story about how this woman, Mrs. O'Leary, like her cow, knocked over a lantern, and that's what started the Great Chicago Fire.
There's a very famous old song about it.
Yeah, right. And this is like a story. Like, even though, I mean, like, if you're ever down on shopping on Michigan Avenue, like the old water tower is one of the few buildings that's still there, right? Like the whole city burned down. And so it was actually really interesting because what they say in the book is that it was these artifacts that were used to burn down Chicago. And then like the Mrs. O'Leary's cow was essentially just a, a
scapegoat.
which is true, a scapegoat, right? That's
cow.
true.
Yeah.
That's also true now. Like it was not her cow, the cow. So I thought that was like a kind of a cool Chicago connection was like, this story that you've heard in your real life. That's another thing I think that's cool about this series is there's enough like nods to like your world, the one we're in, that, you get that real sense that like, oh, okay, like this is an adjacent magical world. I used to talk about it as being like Harry Potter for grownups, but J.K. Rowling is a garbage human.
Yeah,
so
she's the worst.
Say that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're like, we have to stop this dude. Oh man, he turns into a fire dinosaur in like Houston's Times Square is what I got from that.
Well, because he was mad, right?
Yeah.
He was furious because she got hurt. Is that this?
Well, no, this is you're kind of at the end now. Like there's still some like, like they're.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You're right, because Adam has to burn down her house.
Thing, and then like he
There's
gets
a
hit by a
chase.
car, and then he has to go to like the
That's
fake
when he's
hospital because he wouldn't go to the real
Yes.
hospital, and then she got hurt.
Wait,
Oh, that's
one of my
after
favorite
that's
parts of
after
the-
they get the second artifact, though. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. Well, they
Okay.
save an artifact, and actually, this part's really hot. Like they save an artifact, the whole building comes down around them.
He's that fire dinosaur.
Yeah, and Mad Rogan just like boom, like
Oh, I
saves
thought you were
them, and
talking
they're-
about the
they
end,
have to
Mel. I'm
cuddle.
sorry.
I thought you were
No.
talking about the end too.
Yeah.
They have to cuddle underneath the, the
And
fallen.
she does shoot 3 people in the head in a very competent, hot way, but also she has a soul, so she's big worried about it.
yeah.
And I thought that was really one thing I loved about this book is that Ilona Andrews never backed away from him being like a true sociopath.
Yeah,
because
remember when
they
he
talk
squished
about
that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, loved
Right?
that.
Oh,
Loved
yeah.
it when
But
he squished that guy.
So here's the thing, though. So I like reading this, right? I think a lot about. I've been obviously
I think a lot about sociopathic heroes and like how we forgive them, right? Like what we forgive. But I think part of the reason why we are so willing to forgive Mad Rogan is because from the jump, right? Like Ilona is like, this person is a sociopath. He is a mass murderer. Like you are either in this book or you are not. Like you either close the book after chapter 1 or you're like, okay, I'm in. There's no middle way with Mad Rogan. And I think that there's something we talk on the podcast all the time about like authors who like swing for the fences, right?
Right.
Yes.
And this is just like this is the hero of this book.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Well, and they never pull their punches. Like when she's talking about her feelings about killing these people, he's like, yeah, when I first killed a person, like the first time I killed a person with my bare hands, there had been others before, but I felt like I should feel something when I killed someone up close and personal, and I felt literally nothing. Like, what is it like for you? And she's like, I feel like a piece of myself is missing and I can never get it back. And the fact that like, I don't know, it just, they never back away from it. They never pull their punches on it. And I love it.
Hey, HBs, I started an Etsy store. Did you know? Right now, it's full of all the St. Vincent items you need, because St. Vincent is thoughtful and cozy all year round. We've got a book sleeve to keep your books, planners, e-readers, or really anything else safe when you're on the go. The inside is fuzzy, and they feel so incredibly lush in your hands. I went round and round with the manufacturers to make sure I had just the right thickness. Those feature art of St. Vincent and Evie during their carriage adventure that was painted by the amazing Mayara Faraz on one side, and then I created a St. Vincent Would Always wreath on the other side that has a bunch of little Easter egg items in it. There's a St. Vincent Would Always warm brick enamel pin. It's like, if you know, you know. I designed a special edition Marriage of Convenience candle that is specific to Devil in Winter, with the help of HB Jen at Post Pouring Company. It combines dark amber for St. Vincent and rosewood for Evie, and it smells so delicious. It's hard to even wrap my brain around. So if you want to treat yourself or be the St. Vincent you want to see in the world by getting a care package for a friend, check out our Etsy store. The link is in the show notes.
I think the other thing that I like about this is, and this is, there's a whole slew of like witch romances right now, and I actually haven't read many of them. And I think part of it is because like I love this series so much, but I really love that it's like, okay, if you have these huge powers, society's rules are different, right? Like this is a book that really leans hard into, okay, what would society really look like if people could kill each other just by looking at each other?
Right.
Right. And it's like, like all of the like rules and etiquette are essentially because these are all, predators. And so if you make a bunch of rules that everybody has to follow. And so one of the things that's really cool is that like as Nevada enters this world, it's not going to be, I don't think of this as really being dark romance. It's more like morality chain, right? Like this is a morality chain book is, she's like, I understand that your world's different and sometimes I have to engage with it, but I don't want to be sucked into that world. Right. That's why the killing people is never going to be okay with her, even if in later books when she has to kill people, it still is hard for her.
I think it's interesting, though, that we have also Adam Pierce, who is the villain of the book, who is objectively very, very sexy man. Like Grandma Frida's in love with him. He's into the heroin and has an infatuation in the same kind of way that Mad Rogan does. Has the same kind of, like, there's a lot of parallels between Mad Rogan and Adam Pierce. In some ways, they are very similar in the same guy.
Very similar.
But the difference between the two is that Mad Rogan feels nothing when he kills people, whereas it seems that Adam Pierce feels pleasure.
Enjoyment.
So we've kind of got a spectrum of like, we have her, who's our like moral compass, and then, so we've got this foil to hit him off of who's worse than him because he actually like kind of gets off on killing people.
Sure.
I also think that Mad Rogan follows the rules, though. right? I mean, I think that's the other difference. Adam Pearce is like, you know, I can't wait to blow up these rules.
Well, he has reasons.
No, I don't think he follows the rules. I think that he enjoys his
You're talking about Mad Rogan right now.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because he doesn't follow the rules. He doesn't think the rules apply to him, period, the end, because he's a prime. I think he just really likes his privilege within the system that exists. Whereas Adam is such like he's so immature and he needs so much attention and all of that he's like, no, I'm just going to burn everything to the ground. I'm going to get back at my family. I'm going to, you know,
Right.
I'm going to just destroy everything so that we can start over. And I feel like Mad Rogan's like, no, we're super not, because I am great. I'm great here.
Mad Rogan has reasons.
And he has reasons, yes.
Yeah, he has reasons. And also, don't discount the writing here because, you already mentioned it, Erin. Ilona puts on the page early when they watch that video of Mad Rogan as a child taking down the building in Mexico, right? There's that moment where she recognizes in his face, I'm looking at it right now, there's something about the blue eyes looking into the camera, not exactly sadness, but a kind of self-awareness underscored by a slightly bitter smile, almost as if he knew he was a human hurricane and regretted it, but he wouldn't stop, right? And so as a reader, like that is such deft writing because we haven't met him yet, or we've met him, but you know, we haven't spent any time with him. She hasn't met him yet, but already she is sympathetic to him, and therefore we are too.
Yep.
Yeah, I sort of got that he was resigned to
like this
his
is
reality.
who I am,
Yeah.
and I know I'm a monster, but what do you want me to do about it?
Right.
Like I was born this way, but I do think he follows I understand what you're saying about like the rules don't apply to him, but he does follow society's rules, right? The rules for primes.
Sure.
Right? There are rules for primes and he essentially follows them. And when Adam doesn't, that, you know, at one point she actually says like, you're like him. You're just like this rich, powerful. And he was like, I'm nothing like him.
No, he's nothing like him because he likes the system they're in. He's going to follow the rules for primes because it really benefits him, even if he suffers a little bit because
But
of
I
it.
think he also understands maybe more than anyone that without those rules, all the primes would be running around like Adam Pearce just
Absolutely.
destroying shit. And
Absolutely.
he was a destroyer. Right.
Yeah.
So I think he realizes like somebody's got to put us all in check. And if we all agree to these
and
rules.
that's why
And it's gonna be
he
me
also
'cause I'm
loves
king.
her role model. He also loves Lenora. Is her name Lenora?
Oh, yeah. Lenora Jordan.
That's the one. Oh, he's like, somebody has to keep us in check. Even I know that. Yes, Erin. Does she keep them in check?
Hero worship of Lenora was a little like she mentioned several times. I think she's the coolest, most badass person in Houston because she puts criminals in chains like several times. And I was like, can we not like I'm saying this as a prosecutor myself, like can we not be like
jealous, Erin?
put criminals in chains, like can that just not be like the thing where, you know, I didn't love it. And
I see that. I could see
to the
that.
point
It's a
where,
punitive
like,
system for sure. Yeah.
when
fair enough.
Adam at the end is doing his like Shiva the Destroyer thing where he's like, let's scrap it all and like start a new world. And like at the beginning of that villain monologue, I was like, and then he lost the thread a little bit. Like at the beginning where he was like, this system is corrupt. Like it's the haves and the have-nots. And if you have, then you get away with stuff. And then, you know, like, and I was like, I'm pro Adam. Like, let's fuck Adam.
And he's like,
and then,
let's kill everyone.
Yeah, and then it was,
Yeah, and then he's like, all those people in the tunnels.
he had it, you know, he had it, and then he lost
close.
it, you know.
Oh, Adam.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, so where were we?
know.
So they get the second artifact and then they kill a bunch of people and he saves them from a giant fireball by putting them into that rubble tunnel
Well,
cuddle.
but wait, did we talk
where
about
they do that snuggle. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then I think there's like there's a lot that happens. I mean, there's like one of the other things though that's like my favorite part about this book is when he saves her family, right? Like after this, and I'm not sure we're going in order because
No, we're not.
We're
Yeah, it's fine.
This is right after
But-
lunch.
Yeah, this is after lunch, right? She goes home and she gets this alarm notification: your house is on fire. And this is
Everything's
also
on fire in this book.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait, when was this fire? Oh no, that was before the other fire. Well, Adam is a fire starter.
Yeah.
It's fine. But not like cute.
Not cute like Drew Barrymore.
That's a deep cut. That's a real deep cut.
Not too deep. Not so deep. We didn't find it.
Yeah. But there's a part where he meets her mother. And he's like, I've seen your service record and I consider you an active threat, so please stay away from me. And I was like, that's your future mother-in-law, Matt Rogan.
That's exactly how you should be to your future mother-in-law.
Right? Isn't that amazing? He's like, I will kill you
so
if
much.
you. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Completely.
He's like, don't make me tell my security team that you're an actual threat because we will go through with that.
Right. But I also I love when a dangerous man takes dangerous women seriously.
Mm-hmm. That's a micro trope.
Oh, I love that. That's a quote. Put that on a thing. Stamp that on a t-shirt.
That's why I think he's so sexy, because he is like, I can kick everybody's ass, but I also understand that there are a lot of powerful people around me. And there's a lot of women who are really powerful. And, you are a threat. So just know that.
Yeah. I see you. I'm watching you.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So now they decide to give this artifact. They take it out of the Batman vault in Mad Rogan's lair, which I don't understand that at all. But they do take that and they just take it to a municipal building. And they're like,
it's gonna get lost there in the red tape. It's fine.
I'm sure that
it's a very
metal
Raiders
detectors,
of the Lost Ark at the
ever
end,
gonna
where
look
it's
in
just
this file
going to go
cabinet.
into the big.
Into a municipal building is kind of like taking the Jumanji game and like putting it at the bottom of the ocean. Like it will get lost there. Like it will get misfiled. No one will be able to find it there. It will end up in like.
We have seen this trope before, right?
Yeah. And then they have to figure out what the third artifact is, because Adam he's like in a car going. Right. He's on his way to go find this third artifact. And when he pieces everything together,
I don't understand how Adam knows where all the artifacts are.
Because they did, okay, so the organization did that kidnap on the Ennis child, ? Yeah. And then they got the information from that kid and then put that kid back at college. And he was like, I'm in amnesia now.
Right.
And then now they know.
So I'm not going to spoil anything, but one of the things I also like about remember I said there's like a mini series?
Yeah.
So like little parts of this mystery don't actually really truly get solved till later.
It's like
books,
the Tesseract,
where you get where you get sort of the fuller picture of like what's going on and who's behind all of this. Because all along they're like, Adam is kind of a fuck up. There's no way that he is the one. Someone is pulling his strings.
He's not the one.
Right. He's just a
not a king.
A wrecking ball. Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I do that's like one of the other cool things about this book is like, you get a solid mystery. You get sort of most of it solved. You feel at the end that Adam gets punished and whatever, but there's more out there that's going to get solved in later books.
Right. Well, I mean, and that epilogue really knocked my block off because the whole time I was like, I know we met one of the people. You didn't read the epilogue.
Never have, never will.
Oh my God. I forgot about this. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
So part of the mystery gets solved in the epilogue.
Doesn't read them.
What happened?
The epilogue is from Mad Rogan's point of view. I'm not telling you. You didn't fucking read it. I did my homework.
It would be a big spoiler. Oh no.
That's fine.
Would it be a big spoiler?
That's fine. I'm sticking with it.
Oh God,
I feel
so perplexing.
And I know there are author on this Zoom call. However, I just feel like end your book at the ending. If you need, just end it. You shouldn't. You shouldn't need a second ending times two.
Wait, I have a lot of questions. Can I ask some more questions?
Don't I decide when the
Do
ending is?
you leave a restaurant before having dessert?
Often, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Do you, when you go to a Marvel movie, stick around for the extra scenes?
I don't know.
She doesn't do that.
I don't know.
Listen, I just want to say, as author on the Zoom call, what's perplexing to me is this concept that the book is over before I finished the book. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You see what I mean? Like I'm the first author to say like, actually the book doesn't even exist until you read it. So great. But what's weird is like, I remember writing them all.
So, Erin.
And what's wild is if I just made it chapter 26, you would have read it.
You'd read it.
I think so.
That's what's bananas
I don't
to
know.
me. Like the
it
mental...
started out that I didn't read epilogues as a rule in romance because it's just always when they like get pregnant or get married, and that ruins it for me, to be honest.
Right.
And I know that that's not always what happens. And, you know, I've been on this journey with the podcast that there are many epilogues that's not the situation.
Well, it's wild because like I have a couple of epilogues where like that's the whole twist is in the epilogue.
I'm reaching for one right now that's laying on the floor over there. But
so listen,
here's the thing: I've become very entrenched in this thing.
Okay, yeah,
she's
like standing her
your
ground.
identity as a reader.
I understand.
Fine. It's fine.
Yep.
Sure, I get it. Hey, Erin, here's the one thing I will tell you. One of the things I like is the epilogue is in third person, and it's from Mad Rogan's point of view.
Oh my God, I did read it.
Oh, see, and I actually like that because I feel like at least then the epilogue is like it's like literally a different thing, which then makes sense to me that you would not call it chapter 26 or whatever.
Now I know.
Anyway, so you do know how the mystery
put it in a
ends.
different.
I did read it.
Right. Good call. Okay, I'm sorry. So
We're all over the place. It's fine. I'm enjoying myself.
we are.
I listened to
Does
it.
anything
It just played
sexy
right through.
happen?
We need to talk about the kiss. I think Sarah's.
I mean, that's where I'm trying to go. Yeah. So they're about to try and
Adam.
find. Yeah, they're trying to find the third artifact. Stop Adam. Do all the stuff, and they're like prepping for that. And he is trying to teach her prime magic, basically, because she needs her powers to be stronger than they are, and he just knows that it's inside her. Everyone, he just knows how
There's
fucking
so much
powerful
inside
she
her.
is. And he wants to mine all of it. Not enough. Yeah, it's great stuff. Sorry. So he's like trying to teach her how to draw a circle.
Oh my God.
I know. It's amazing.
Can we talk about when he looks at the circle, he's so pissed off because she's been hurt. Wait, this is going back a little bit, but I love, I fucking love this moment. I love it when heroes do this shit. She's been hurt. He's fucking furious. So he's like thrown a bus at someone. Like he's just angry,
literally.
right? Mm-hmm. And he looks down because he's asked her, like there was this like fight. And he was like, you got to draw me a circle to amplify my magic. So she does. And then she's like bleeding. Her knees are bleeding. She's scraped herself up from like.
She's been garroted. Partially garroted.
She's been tied up with wires, but also drawing this man's fucking circle. She skinned her knees, which hurts, you guys.
It hurts.
It does hurt.
And then he looks down at it and he's like, your circle work is shit.
It sucks.
And that gorgeous woman throws the chalk at his face and gets in the car and is like, drive. And her cousin.
And like, I don't want to see him again. And then that's why he gets her $10,000 worth of carnations that are built into a smooch on her lawn, I feel like. Probably a smooch. Yeah, probably a smooch.
What a man.
It's just a pair of lips.
Who loves carnations that much, though? Except for my grandmother really did love
have a
carnation.
question about that. Yeah.
Right?
It is a weird thing.
It's a weird thing.
It is a symbolism thing, though. Like a deep red carnation is like a deep red, like a deep love.
Like one of those language
Like
of
a
flowers.
Victorian language thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up.
All right, you
Please
look it up.
do.
I've done a lot of flower research.
Really?
Okay.
Cool.
It's a thing that prosecutors are required to do.
For a thing no one will ever
Military.
read, Sarah. But I did a lot of flower research at one point.
A dark red carnation conveys feelings of deep love and affection.
See?
And the deeper the red,
and-
the deeper the love and affection. So I think that's why it
these were
really
like-
went into how deep the red, like they were bloody.
And these were like black. They were so red. They were.
Well, and I love how
So
she's
then
like,
he
yeah,
teaches
that's
her how
kind
to
of
make
weird.
circles.
And her mom is like, honey, there's like 25,000 carnations out there. Like, this is, I think he's courting you. And Nevada's like, no.
certainly not.
Like, this
Absolutely
is a
not.
totally normal thing for a person
This
to
is
do.
totally normal for him to do this.
He does that for all of his bro pals.
she told him she didn't want flowers, so it's probably like a prank.
Yeah.
And Nevada's mom was like, you dumbass. It's great. I love that
know.
whole family. I think that's the other reason this is a comfort read is because of like the family, right? Like this is, if you are a writer and you want to know how to leverage secondary characters,
Yeah.
right? Like this series is so great.
Yeah. Because they're
'Cause
also
they're
not too
all-
much.
No, they're totally distinctly who they are. And yet they're like really fun, but they don't take up all the air in the room. It's pretty masterful.
Yeah.
It is.
It's great. And every scene is useful.
Yeah.
Like they're not just there to be there. Okay, so he's got his arm on her arm and he's making it into a compass that draws a perfect circle. And because of that, they're
Sexy
very, very
circle.
close to each other. Yeah. And then all of a sudden she looks up and then he looks into her eyes. Sarah, do you want to cut in at any point?
No, I like to read. I'm enjoying just the read. I'm like, oh.
So they
And
do
I'm
this
going,
kiss.
Do it.
Ah!
yeah.
So they do this kiss, and then she starts feeling his tactile abilities all over her body, not just her erogenous zones, but like everywhere. So everything is amplified. And so that she's like whimpering and they're making out. And she can, again, I cannot stress
so
the
hot.
amount
It's
that,
really
that
great.
he's just tweaking all the good parts with his mind during this
Yeah.
thing. And then it's so good, everyone, that she does just come by herself with her clothes on. And
Listen, what a man.
Like he loves it.
What a man.
Yeah, he
What a man.
does.
What a man.
What a man.
What a
What a
man.
man. What a man. I mean, look. I have
It's
nothing more to say.
perfect. I mean,
It's
if you are
perfect.
out there and you are like, I love a slow burn, like, and these people who love a slow burn, like, I have questions, but
Sure.
because when you say you love a slow burn, you don't actually know what a slow burn is. Like, this is it. This, like,
This.
It has to be Bernie. We've
It has
talked
to
about this a lot.
scorch you the
Every
whole
moment
time.
with
Burn
these
and then
two.
be suddenly a bonfire. It's got to burn the whole time.
Yeah, you have to be waiting. It's got to be like smoking. And you're like, when is this thing going to ignite? When is it coming?
This book is literally called Burn for Me. Like, this is a book that understands that, like,
Name is
they are
destiny.
at a full fucking summer
onto
the
something,
entire
Jen.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Oh, so good.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm like, there is the sexual tension between these two is so intense the entire fucking time.
The whole time. And on so many different levels.
Yeah.
Like it's there on a professional level. It's there on like on the way that they are different. They just hit so many different points of the psyche and their emotions and their, just their lived reality.
And it's also
that-
like, you have this moment when when you see them, in that first moment where he sees her, like at the
Yes.
whatever,
the botanical
in the garden, and they're fated mates. Like he sees her. The reason
Yes.
why it is in first person present is because, or first person past, is because if we were in Mad Rogan's head at that moment, it would just be like mine,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think so. Then, okay, look, at the end, the way they catch.
Wait, no, I'm
Adam
sorry.
Pierce.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry. I'm so
you're-
sorry.
you're gonna-
I have to
no,
read
tell me.
one of the best things I've ever heard a hero say in the world.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
So
Bring it.
she's like, this kiss didn't happen. And he's like, no, why the hell not? Like it absolutely
I was
did.
there.
Yeah. She says, it's unprofessional and dangerous. This didn't happen. And he goes, it happened. I was there and you liked it. She goes, no. And he says, you melted, which just like way to carry that through. You melted. A male self-satisfied smile touched his lips like spring snow. I don't know what you're talking about. We stared at each other. Fine, he said. You had no idea it could be this good. Nobody in your past was ever that good, and you know that nobody in your future will ever be this good. You've had a taste, and you want more. You want sex. Dirty, naked, hot sex. It's floating through your head as we speak. You think you can imagine what it would be like. Trust me, you have no idea. I haven't even started. So run from it. Think it over. Pretend it didn't happen. It doesn't matter. I'll allow it for now. The more you fight, the more irresistible it will become, until one day I'll motion with my hand and you'll come running.
What a man.
I would like to say something.
No, don't ruin this
I'm
moment
sorry.
for me.
No.
Are you about to say something you don't like?
No, not about the writing or the scene. I think that this is beautiful and wonderful. I do want to caution listener because I feel like I'm the only one who listened to the audio on this Zoom.
Oh no, I've
call.
listened to the audio.
I listened to the audio.
But if
You listened to it two double time though.
You did.
Mad Rogan is the only character that has what I would call a thick Bill Compton-esque Southern accent in the audiobook. And if that doesn't do it for you, you might want to read the words. Because when I was reading, I found stuff like that far more impactful for me than when I was listening to it because of the Southern accent just really got me.
I'm so glad you said that because wow, it was not like that in the reading of the text.
Exactly. So if somebody's listening to this and is deciding between the audio is fantastic. I think the voice actress that does it is great. It's just a personal preference. So if you don't like a really Houston accent,
though? All heroes sound like Tom Hardy in my head. Doesn't matter where they're from. He's from Houston. He sounds like Tom Hardy.
So I will say the reason I've read these books so many times is because it's like I just listen to them when I'm bored and I don't have anything else to listen to. I think she really tempers that accent in book 2.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Like the feedback.
Like I think she got some feedback was like, can you turn that down a little bit?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting when every time I go back and start again at 1, I'm like, oh yeah.
So when you say Bill Compton, you mean like suck it.
Yeah, it's very like this is what I'm gonna do to you. You know, it's like that kind of stuff, and it's like that. I'm sure that works for some. It's just not. It's not
He's
my
that
personal
guy.
jam. Yeah.
Suck it.
Not my Bill.
Okay, I'm sorry. So you're right.
Okay, sorry.
Now, so she does a big prime mental magic on another dude, and he spills all the secrets after a little while. She feels like it might murder her, and everybody's like, "You're drawing too much power." And Mad Rogan says she's fine.
Yeah.
After a little while, is that after he does stab in and out of his leg for a while?
No, that's way a while ago.
Guy? Okay, all right. Never mind.
Yeah. No, but then, and so then they're like, okay, we know exactly we have to go to this public park near the municipal building that we've been at previously. And on their way out, she's like, I'm coming with you. And he's like, great. And on their way out, the asshat who owns her parent company is like, you're gonna go and you're gonna fight a prime, like you're gonna get killed. What can you do that Mad Rogan can't? And Mad turns around and he's like, she can shoot him squarely between the eyes. Like you fuck off. She's great, and we're both going.
Ooh, can I say I also love that setup because they make it canonical that Mad Rogan is very bad with weapons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right.
And so the idea that she comes from this long line of like magic sharpshooters.
Yeah.
It's hot.
No, it's awesome. It's super hot.
It's hot.
So look, to make a long story short, it's like then a big magic off between Adam Pierce and Mad Rogan.
They pull their magic dicks out and they are just like, get
basically
let's not Abraham Lincoln fuck Lord of the Moon this. They didn't pull their magic dicks out in sword fight. Because that's something that literally happened in a book we read. So, like, let's be clear.
Yeah. No, you're right.
What's going to happen is Adam is going to essentially make himself a pillar of fire using these, this. And so what Mad Rogan's going to do is essentially like build a wall around him using telekinesis. Mm-hmm. And the trick is both of them are going to enter something called null space, which means like your magic is so powerful that you're not really even existing fully on like our plane of being anymore. Sure, they're in Minecraft land.
Magic Minecraft, it's fine.
And then it's like whose power is going to last the longest, right? Like they're both really powerful, but like can Mad Rogan contain Adam's fire long enough, right? Of course.
I mean, only one of them is a king.
But the trouble is that once Mad Rogan enters this space, he can't turn himself off either, right? So he, in trying to save the city, might actually also destroy the city.
Right.
Until...
Oh, she smooches him on his face. Did I get it?
That's right.
And she has to levitate herself. How did she do that?
I don't know.
He did it.
Love. I don't know.
Love.
Love lifts us up to smooch Mad Rogan on the face.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen, literally stops his magic, like calms him the fuck down by kissing him, and it's great.
It's so great. And I love that in the epilogue, they bring that back because it says like Mad Rogan has 2 goals now. He's never had a goal in his life. One is that he's going to take down the whoever who's doing the bad stuff. And then the second one is that he is going to win Nevada because he says that like he's always enjoyed the sort of detached safety that is the null space because it's like neither good nor bad. Like there's nothing in there. Yeah, it's just sort of serene. But the way that he felt all of the things that she's feeling for him in that kiss and like even the complicated contradictory stuff. Oh, it's so hot.
It told him everything he needed to know.
Everything he needed to know.
So we skipped over one of my favorite scenes in the book, which is when they go to the pit, right?
And, I love the pit. And he squishes that dude.
They're going to go, he smushes that dude and he's basically like, I'm in charge. When I'm here, I'm in charge. When I'm not here, I don't care who's in charge.
Was really
and
hot.
I was like,
Daddy.
Hot.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Daddy.
Yes.
No.
Truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's like, whenever, when I'm not around, whatever, but I'm your daddy
but
right
when
now.
I'm here, I'm in charge. And I was like, everyone could have an orgasm just by hanging out with him. That's how hot it is.
Honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, literally.
Literally. It's amazing.
We can all get the touching.
Anytime, I mean,
I'm going
anytime he wants to.
Like
This
a
is-
dinner
I'm-
party at Mad Rogan's house. Like everybody gets the touching.
That is the dessert he serves. Okay?
Hey, Aaron, you should stick around for
I guess. I just feel like a massive dinner party with all of my girlfriends where he's gonna like psychically touch us all is like not my jam. But like if you guys want to do it, like I think that's great for you.
Maybe it's like 7 minutes in heaven with Mad Rogan.
Yeah, like me.
Like you're in a closet.
7 minutes in null space.
Spin the bottle, maybe.
Boy. Can I tell you a real shame though, everybody? I have the actual paperbacks and I was looking at them and, you know, there's like a clinch on the cover and, you know, he's got his dog tags and she's very beautiful. And then I was like, wait, what's the step back? And it's just destruction.
Come on.
It's just buildings falling down. And I feel really robbed.
It's a disappointment.
You're going to waste
true.
color ink
That's a
on
step
that?
back for like non-romance readers who don't
That's
expect
like
there
a
to be
Jack
step
Reacher.
back.
That's like a Jack Reacher
It
step
is.
back.
Wait, what is that? Was that Jack Reacher that just went by?
No, this is
That's
this
was
is
two.
number
The second
2.
book.
Also destruction on the
what's
inside.
What's the point of that?
I don't know.
Avon.
That's my point.
I'm gonna ask.
Vibes. Just setting the scene.
Blowing up
I
vibes,
guess.
fire vibes.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. Tells you what you're going to get into.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna give them a step back, and it's just gonna be things blowing up.
I mean, I guess if your front cover is a clinch, though, what do you do in the step back?
They lay them down in front of the explosion. What do you want? What do you want from me?
Less clothes in the step back.
Honestly.
A chaise lounge.
A chaise and then a in the background. Yes. No, I got really big Dr. Manhattan vibes from him because of his like really, really blue eyes and the
is
way that
really
he like
clever,
levitates
yeah.
up and all that. So I think the step back should be that scene where he's all
levitating. Yeah,
magic and
absolutely.
she's mooching on him.
there's
Hot.
the wind around them.
Oh, the wind. God.
That's what I want. I want the two of them just banging in a wind tunnel.
I should tell you about some of our future plans, Sarah, for another project. You just wait.
Banging in a wind tunnel? All right.
It is not that.
Okay, great.
Is it the CERN? Is it like the particle collider?
It's not that either. You listen.
okay.
I'll tell you off the podcast.
Okay.
Any final thoughts here? Anyone from anyone?
Thank you for introducing me
I'm really
to this
happy
series.
I read this finally.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have
See?
gotten around to it without
same.
this.
When Jen and I were
listen.
talking about it, she did say this will force Sarah to finally read this book. So
And you did, and I'm going to read the
And
rest
it
of the
did.
series, so...
Yeah.
Book 2 is my favorite.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited. I thought there were 6 for some reason.
So there are 6. The second trilogy is about her younger sister Catalina.
Oh, okay.
And she falls in love with Alessandro Segredo.
Oh,
so
hello.
it's essentially like a second series, like a second mini series, right? And then that book 6 actually comes out probably around when this is released.
Cool.
It's like
Yeah.
August, the end of August.
Nice.
So that trilogy finishes, and I've read it, and they definitely tee up in an epilogue that
More
the youngest
things.
sister, Arabella, will probably get her series.
nice.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm excited because it's just, like more of this world, right?
Yeah.
Like more of these people, more of Grandma Frida.
I
and her
do feel
kids.
like when you build a world this elaborate, 3 books is not enough. Like you've done a lot of work as a writer, and readers have done a lot of work like imprinting the world, and now you have to continue it.
But I really like that it's like, okay, but like, again, they're not trying to like rewrite Nevada and Connor. They're not trying to like write like that's done. We're just going to move on to the sisters, and then we get hints of them, and we get a look at them, and then we'll get Arabella and X or Y. There's like a little hint that maybe she's got a little
But we should tell listener, sorry everyone, that this book does end with him being like, pick a place in the world. I'll get a yacht and we'll go to it or whatever. And she's like, no.
You're a sociopath.
right.
Aaron's like, yes, exactly. You're a sociopath.
And I loved at the very, very end. I don't know if this like only hit me or if it's like a more universal thing, but when she said, you're not capable of feeling other people's feelings, you're an empath, but you're only a magical empath. Like it does not translate emotionally. And that's a deal breaker for me, essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited for him to learn how to feel.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I gotta say, it really doesn't as much. I'm on the record. I hate a cliffhanger. I hate it, and then she leaves at the end of the first book. But it really doesn't feel like that here. And I think part of the reason why it doesn't feel that way is because this does feel like a romance, and it feels like I'm going to read book 2 right away. So it
most
rolls.
definitely. Right. Most definitely. I wasn't mad at the end of this.
No,
I was just
which
like,
is weird because
Nevada, you dumbass.
Well, because it didn't feel like a breakup because she broke up with him. She was like, no, I'm not going to your yacht or whatever. And he was like, okay. Like, he didn't accept the breakup. It wasn't like he then walked away and was like, I've lost her, my love. You know, he was like, okay, Nevada, I'll see you tomorrow. You know,
you're obviously coming on the yacht.
Can't wait to bang. Bye.
On my yacht in my wind tunnel.
Yeah. I also think like the main story, right? Like what's happening with Adam gets solved in a really satisfying way. And we understand, like we just understand that the next book is coming. But I guess in the when these books were released, book 1 came out in 2014 and book 2, I think, came out in 2015 or like there was a big delay. And I think people really waited around for number 3. And a lot of my friends were like, that was some real bullshit.
Yeah, like I don't have to live in that reality. That's great.
You gotta wait.
Yeah, you know, be in her books. She did not read any of Catalina's trilogy
Until they were all done.
Smart.
until she could get Ruby Fever. She's like, I'm not falling for that again.
That's
I'm just
just
gonna give
good
myself that.
sense.
Yeah,
That's self-care.
Yeah,
is
that
what
is
that is.
self-care.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, know your limits,
But
man.
then look, she probably had a great weekend.
Yeah.
See, I mean, when I read these all in one weekend, I literally had the best weekend.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. This is one of those few reading experiences where you're like, this is how reading romance should feel.
Yeah. Ooh, Faded Bosoms.
We're gonna read a book about a waterbed sometime.
Sometime we're
yes.
going to find it.
Tweet
Challenge
at us.
accepted.
Listen, Nora Roberts for sure wrote a waterbed.
Had to have.
One of those love sweps for
Sandra
sure had
Brown,
waterbeds.
somebody's banging on a waterbed.
Oh, yeah.
You're sloshing around.
It's gotta be.
No, like I just don't feel like sex on a waterbed is good, and I feel like that's always been known. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand the purpose of the
But then
waterbed.
so many people had waterbeds. Where do you bang? Like, are you just a not bed
Where
banger?
do you bang?
Like, do you get on the floor? Do you go to your couch? Are you just a not bed banger
I think so.
all the time? Forever?
Do people still have waterbeds? Listeners,
know.
fill us in on waterbeds.
Yeah, please.
Tell us about
Like, is the bed
waterbeds.
even an option? You know?
Yeah, right.
Is it a special occasion situation? I don't know.
I mean, it feels like it. I don't know. It feels difficult.
It really does. Yeah.
Well, do waterbeds still exist is literally a question on the Google.
Where can I find a waterbed? Anywhere.
It says they can still be found today, mostly online.
Oh, I'm sure totally used.
I bet they do not ship to Alaska. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't think that you can find one here. I don't think we're going to get one.
I think it's the wrong climate for it as well.
It would freeze.
It's an ice bed at that point.
Yeah,
It's just an ice bed.
No, that doesn't sound
What
nice.
an odd thing. I'm now reading the Wikipedia page about waterbeds. The National Institute of Child Health thinks they are very bad for children because they'll just
because you
asphyxiate
can get
in there.
stuck
Yeah.
in.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
It says
Yeah,
another
Rogan would
advantage
never.
of a waterbed is easy cleaning. That seems
False.
wrong.
I mean, you can wipe it down.
No, because
That's
dust
true.
mites can't live inside it.
Yeah, that
So
makes
maybe
sense.
it's an allergy thing. Anyway, if you're out there and you have a waterbed, report in.
Please
Also, we
tell
support
us
you.
about your life. Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
Friends, I gotta go. We
Same.
have fallen down the waterbed hole, and I don't like it. I bet, you know what though? I just thought of it. I bet there's waterbed TikTok.
well, it just occurred to me that my very favorite hero of anything, Special Agent Fox Mulder, had a waterbed.
Oh, that's right.
That just occurred to me.
So there's got to be waterbed romance. Has to be.
Well, there's definitely
my gosh.
waterbed fanfic. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody knows this. I haven't yet listened to it. It's like I downloaded a bunch of episodes, but there is a podcast called something to the effect of Fox Mulder is a Maniac. And I think it might be an X-Files rewatch, like from the perspective of him just being an absolute.
Well, where's the waterbed episode? We need to find it.
right.
Yes. This is great.
Sure, there were the people that lived in the sewers. There were like the inbred family, and then there was like the waterbed episode, of course.
Dreamland.
Listen, everybody should tell everybody where they can be found. So I'll go first. We can be found at fatedmates.net on Wednesdays.
Heaving Bosoms can be found on heavingbosoms.com. And then we're pretty much everywhere at Heaving Bosoms. And yeah. And Twitter's
then
at heaving_bosoms.
Melody, tell everybody about Bonkers Romance too.
Oh, yeah. And my other podcast, Bonkers Romance, bonkersromance.com. And I think we're mostly on Instagram and TikTok, but that's at Bonkers Romance. And Heaving Bosoms publishes on Mondays, and you can get Bonkers on Thursdays. So,
And I'm just a lady in the world.
Yeah.
My name is Erin. My Twitter is this one.
I put criminals in chains.
You're not just a lady. You're pretty badass.
You can find me
what's
in
her
my
name?
house
Lenora?
in Alaska. I am at this one is Erin on Twitter.
yeah.
A listener.
I am a listener of the Fated Mates podcast, famously.
Erin and I, listen, Erin, you know what? I'm feeling ice skating this summer.
Let's do it. Jen and I were going to read an ice skating book.
Oh, you're going to read an ice skating book.
Erin loves ice skating.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.